This is why you died.
Hello again and welcome everyone to This Is Why You Died, the last horror show before the vast expanse of the wasteland, beyond which nothing lies but dust and madness, into which flees the man in black, and we must follow. I am Sir Ian Dangers, aka your Uncle Frank, and joining me as always are my quartet of Dan March of Madness and Ryan Ross Live. Hello, gentlemen, and welcome.
Hello.
I hope you brought your guns as we follow the beam. How are you guys doing tonight?
I love the fact that we're following Men in Black, and all of us are happy to be wearing black today.
I'm always living in black.
That's right.
It's
Our
true.
dedicated listeners are following us into the wasteland, apparently, today, as I reference Stephen King like a madman. We are the show that picks prompts at random from the 666 words and phrases in our buckets of the beast. And then we choose horror movies based on those prompts and come back here to talk about them with all of you, all of our dedicated listeners. Boys, how are we doing today? Are we checking out anything cool before we get into the show? We have a good movie today. But before we talk about it, how are we doing, guys? What's up?
Guys, we need to talk about
what?
Stranger Things.
We
Because
do.
Stranger Things.
Do we?
Yes,
Do we?
Yes, we
You know
do.
what?
Ian, yes, we do. We are
Are
at
you not
this
a fan,
point.
Ian?
Legacy ass nostalgia bait. Go on.
No.
Let's talk about Stranger
Hey,
Things.
it might
Go
be
ahead.
nostalgia bait for you.
It is. Go on, millennial. Tell me about your
Anyway,
Stranger Things. And your
This
tickety
week,
tockety.
This week, I'm excited because the second set of episodes for the final season of Stranger Things drops later this week on Christmas, leading up to the ultimate finale being New
Oh my
Year's and New Year's
gosh.
Eve, New Year's Day. And I think it's even going to be in theaters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But
The
Oh,
final
God,
episode.
really?
Yeah, the final
Yeah, they're
episode.
doing
you
Final
watch
episodes in theaters?
they're doing a full
Yes.
theatrical release. Well, it's
That's awesome.
feature length. The
Wow.
season 4 finale was 2.5 hours long. I don't
Oof, I
remember
didn't realize
offhand
that.
what the season finale for this one's supposed to be. It's supposed to be long, but
I've
will
heard it's
say-
sponsored by Metamucil because of the age of the cast.
Ouch.
the age of the
But
cast.
go on.
They are distinctly adults now, but it's. I will say the first 4 episodes of season 5 are killer. They are, I think, the best episodes in the show, pretty hands down. They really clearly put in a lot of effort this season. We just watched it recently and finally got caught up. I've been worried because I've been trying to avoid spoilers for the bit that
Jeez, how'd
it's
you
been out.
avoid them?
I got one small one. And then I was desperate. The Reddit was a minefield. Reddit was an absolute minefield to avoid
It
spoilers.
usually is.
But incredibly done first 4 episodes. For anybody who's watched it, send us your thoughts. I want to hear the thoughts. But yes, very much enjoyed it. And I'm also excited because we've talked about Dead by Daylight on the show. And as Stranger
Have
Things
we?
and Dead by Daylight being two of the things that I reference a great deal. They previously, years ago, I'm going to dive deep for a second, guys.
Oh, God. Here we go. Brace
Oh,
yourselves,
my
everyone.
God.
So,
Here we go.
So Stranger Things was added. So Dead by Daylight is kind of the Fortnite of horror. They add all these characters. They've added a bunch of IPs. There's pretty much all these famous killers and movies and stuff referenced in it. They did years ago a Stranger Things like DLC where you got the Hawkins Lab, you got the Demogorgon, and you got Steve and Nancy as playable characters. And it was
That's
they
fun.
had multiple outfits. They had the whole thing. They built the whole thing out. And it was in the game for a while, and then it was mysteriously pulled from the game. They removed it from the store. Anyone who owned it still owned it. It was still in game, but you couldn't purchase it anymore. And all of the associated perks with the characters got renamed. They got made generalist perks. They did a lot of weird stuff. And it was a surprise because there'd been a leak that there was a second chapter being added around when season 4 dropped. But season 4 was post-COVID. There was an actor strike. There was a bunch of stuff going on. So there's speculation that whatever agreement was associated with this next chapter got pushed when the season got delayed and everything got pushed back, and that the license agreement for the first chapter essentially ran out in the gap of the pushing of the second thing. They have now announced that the second chapter does exist and is arriving post the show's finale, and will likely be adding the main villain from season 5 as a killer to the game. And there's speculation on whether the survivors are going to be Hopper and Joyce, or whether it's going to be Eddie Munson or whatever, probably based off of whatever the end of the season is. But even further, the killer, the main villain in Stranger Things, for anyone who hasn't watched it, spoiler alert for Stranger Things, I guess, the main villain of the last 2 seasons is referred to the cast as Vecna, because they associate him with this very, very famous figure in D&D lore, which is also already a character as a killer in the game. The D&D lore accurate Vecna, because they did a crossover with Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons and Dragons. Vecna, the character from Dungeons and Dragons, is in the game. So everyone's wondering whether it's also going to be Vecna, or whether it's going to be like, again, spoiler alert, again, Henry Creel, the name of Vecna in the show, like how they're going to do that. But there's a lot of cool speculations. I'm very excited to see it.
Wow. Well, and you know what's great about that, Ryan? We should probably be mentioned that right now, on this very show, if you are a patron of this show, you will have the opportunity in January to possibly play Dead by Daylight against us. We're going to be doing a bonus episode for our patrons.
And with us.
And with us as well, where we're going to be playing we're going to stream Dead by Daylight. Dan and I are going to be introduced to Dead by Daylight by Mr. Ryan Ross Live, and we're going to stream us killing each other and being killed by each other and some lucky patrons on this very show. By the way, Dan, where can they find our links while we're at the top of the show here?
If you go to beacons.ai/TIWYD pod, you can find all of our links on where you can listen to us, where you can watch us on YouTube, where you can buy all of our cool merch that we're wearing, and where you can support us on our Patreon.
Yeah. Yes. Hell yeah. And also where you can go to Patreon and sign up and possibly play Dead by Daylight against us. And then you can kill Ryan with Vecna. And it'll be either Vecna, one of 2 Vecnas.
And we can shout out the fact that our bonus for this month is that we are going to be doing our holiday special, because it's the holidays.
Yes.
It's that time of year.
Happy holidays, everybody.
It's actually supposed to be, it's going to be coming out actually any time now. When this show drops, it should be coming out in like a day or 2. So if you haven't signed up for Patreon, now's the time to do it, so you can get our bonus holiday episode where we will be watching Santa's Slay, SLAY, a fantastic Christmas horror movie, underseen, and I rolled a perfect 13 to force us to watch it. So
he did.
So it was preordained by the horror gods that we watched this movie for our holiday episode. So lots of good stuff coming your guys' way. But we got to get into the show right now, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about on this episode of the show. It's Ryan's pick this episode. Ryan, you had a absolutely monster prompt to bring this in. Would you tell us, what was your prompt? What movie did you choose? What movie are we doing today?
So I had the prompt Myth, which is great because I'm a big mythology guy. I am a quarter Greek. I grew up with my grandma was a first generation American. Her parents emigrated through Ellis Island. I got into Greek mythology very young because of that. And then that extended into Norse mythology as I kind of learned enough about the Greek stuff. I branched into Norse, all sorts of stuff. So I've always been a big mythology guy. I was surprised. Well, at first I was surprised, and then I thought through it. I wanted to do a Greek mythology horror, but then I realized that most Greek mythology doesn't really have, although there's some very horrific stuff in Greek mythology in some ways, not all of it's very well represented in horror films. But after a little bit of research, I was able to find a Nordic mythology-based film, or at least tangentially related, I would say, now that we've actually viewed it. But The Ritual is the movie that we are watching, have watched and are discussing today. On Netflix.
Which you found through Google.
Frankly, I find most of my stuff through Google. Let's be honest, I don't have the library to pull from that you guys do, so I do a little searchy search.
If this is your first episode, Dan and I are longtime horror aficionados, and Ryan is our initiate. Ryan got dragged into the show having seen very little to no horror movies, and he kind of keeps us grounded from getting too much into our horror nerd selves. And so this is actually amazing that you found this one via Google off of the prompt Myth, because it's a really cool movie. If you haven't seen it yet, now's the time to go. It's on Netflix only. It's a Netflix produced movie for the most part. The Ritual is on Netflix. You can watch it there. But if you have not seen it, going forward on the show, guys, it's time. We got to drop the spoiler warning.
spoilers, including character deaths and plot twists, are now authorized.
That's right.
You have been warned.
That's right. It's time to spoil the crap out of The Ritual. We're going to do that right now. We're going to talk about all the things that happen in this movie and all of the horrible shit that happens to these poor four dudes who go on a hiking trip into the Swedish wilderness, Scandinavian wilderness, Nordic wilderness, somewhere out there. It was
Norway,
a King's Road. Yeah, the King's Road in Sweden, I think. But they're up on the high cliffs, and then they go into the forest and take a shortcut, which is something you should never do in a horror movie.
Yes.
Like, come on, before we even get to the This Is Why You Died section, we're called This Is Why You Died. They all go into we're going to take a shortcut in a horror movie within the first 15 minutes.
Oh, Ryan.
You guys know
Ryan's
it's coming.
perking up. He knows. I know. He's
Tell
so
people,
angry.
They told them, I will admit, they registered with the lodge. They let people know where they were. But then they got off the fucking trail. They left the place that anyone would find them, and they go deep into the woods where no one can see them. No one can help you.
It's funny. To me, it just seemed like a horror trope, Ryan. But when I first saw this movie, but then having done the show with you now for a couple of years, the number of times there are horror movies where there's wilderness people, the people go into the wilderness and do things that are going to trigger you. It's remarkable, actually.
So
it's kind of remarkable.
Also, throughout the movie, we'll get to it. I won't fuck on.
Ryan's mad.
Movie, dude.
Oh no!
It is the Swedish wilderness, by the way. It is a Swedish forest. Oh my
Into the
God.
Swedish wilderness. Oh my God! All right, so Ryan, we know you'd never seen this movie before. I've seen it 2 or 3 times before this. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice one. Dan, what is your experience with The Ritual? How many times have you seen this movie?
I think this is my second, maybe third, but I want to say second confidently. It was it. So, yeah, I mean, I remember watching it the first time and like being let down by it. Like,
really?
The first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, that was all right. Like, I think maybe the ending threw it off for me, like the switch to, to being, really a creature,
full-blooded monster movie.
Movie mixed with the folk horror. Like, it just kind of came out of nowhere the first time that I viewed it. But I will say the second time I appreciated it so much more. Like, it just like where I was left like lukewarm the first time, I was completely wrong, totally misjudged it. This movie is freaking incredible. So
wow.
Yeah, I like this one.
And for me, I don't know about you, but it was my first introduction to David Bruckner, the director of this movie. He also directed The Night House, which I think is a very strong movie with the kind of a weak ending, but there's a lot of really great direction throughout most of the movie. And then the Hellraiser reboot, which we've watched and reviewed on this very show. He also did the new Hellraiser, which we had, I think you guys liked better than I did, but I still thought was a very strong movie. So, all right, let's get into The Ritual. As Dan, as you have said, it starts off, you think it's a lot of things as you go into this movie. You think that it's going to be rednecks tracking these guys through the woods. They find like an abandoned house, and they're worried that they're being followed by moonshiners or whatever you have in the Swedish wilderness, the equivalent of the Appalachian rednecks, hillbillies, or whatnot. But it turns out to be something much, much worse. They're actually being hunted by an ancient deity, a Jotnar, a giant, a son in the movie. I guess it's supposedly male in the movie, son of Loki in the book. So this is based on a book. It was a book by Adam Neville, which came out, I think, 4 or 5 years before the movie. 2011, movie came out in 2017, so 6 years. Adam Neville wrote a book. It is loosely based on the book. I'd say it's got some things that are similar and some things that are very, very different. But the critter in the book is a female, and it's called Motor or Mother.
Mm-hmm.
When in the movie, it's a little bit, it's pretty masculine. It's got hands where its junk should be, but it's still pretty masculine. But it keeps the name. Let's talk about it right now. The creature that is chasing these guys through the woods, that they kind of tease throughout the movie, and you're trying hard to figure out what the fuck this thing is. When you finally reveal it, what did you guys think when they finally revealed the creature in The Ritual?
Oh man, I absolutely loved it. It's so creepy. I think it's because you get that it's like a giant sort of like deer, or like ram thing. I don't know. You get that it's some sort of like wooded, like a creature on an elevated level that lives in the woods. But when you finally get that shot where you see its eyes and then like the hands that are there, and so it's like, oh, there's this other thing that's kind of controlling this beast like thing, that it just is like, so it's like your brain's trying to figure out what you're even looking at, and as soon as you do, it's like just like you're kind of sucked into the horror of it. So I really love the creature design in this movie.
Keith Thompson was the creature designer for this movie, and you can actually go to his website and see the art that he did for this. And I've sat there and just stared at his drawings and gone like, what the fuck am I looking at? It's such like a distorted deer, dog, human thing. It's like a giant deer with dog hind legs, and then this human body for a head, but it's a human body with arms for legs, and then it's got arms where its arms should be, but they're antlers, and it's missing its head, but it has a neck, and then its crotch is where its eyes are, like deep within this weird hole space, and then like it has another set of arms where the deer's crotch is. It's fucking weird and disturbing. Ryan, your first time seeing this movie, what did you think of the Jotnar in this movie?
I had kind of mixed feelings on it. I think that there are elements of it that I really, really liked. It almost like the human aspect almost seemed like it was hanging backwards off the front, is kind of how it like visually almost appears. That it's like if somebody was leaning backwards and looking at you upside down and had its arms out, like kind of this weird, like almost reverse centaur situation thing going on. Like the elements of the actual creature design I thought were cool. And I loved the whole, it can appear to you as a vision of your subconscious, that it can like, that felt very mythology
it fucks with your mind
to me.
Yeah.
And like all the vision stuff in the movie I thought was very cool. I do think it got a little bit, I think to Dan's point, I was a little disappointed in the sense that I felt like the big reveal of the creature tied in with this like random group in the woods that's like worshiping it felt a little like I felt like they added too much. I feel like I almost would have rather it just been this creature and we didn't have this weird culty like group of people worshiping it in the woods. And like also we talked about, you joke about, or not joked at, but referenced it being like a son of Loki thing. Like I felt like the mythology aspect of it felt very shoehorned in. Like it felt like, oh, we're going to like make a mythical tie here in order to give it more legitimacy. I almost would have preferred it just to be a mystery monster. And like they did a bunch of cool rune stuff that they don't really explain. I feel like they could have just left it there.
Those are real runes, by the way.
Cool. Yes, they're Futhark runes, right?
Yeah, it was the Odal rune, the Algiz rune. Basically, like there was the one rune that was like it meant like house, or like this is my property, which was the I think the Odal rune was the property rune, right? And then the Elhaz rune is, or the Algaz rune is the Z rune, which is like the end rune, and it basically means elk. So which is kind of what that thing is. It's kind of elkish, elk moose human hybrid Loki bastard offspring. But Ryan, to that point, like you said that you were disappointed in the mythology of it, but the fact that the way that the creature interacted with them and kind of the nods to the greater possible universe, I thought were very cool. Not only does the creature impale its victims on trees, kind of like Odin trying to get knowledge from Yggdrasil, but also at the end, when it's trying to make him worship it while it prays to whatever empty god, whatever, like the sky, it's trying to like get in contact with its gods, and you get the sense that it's kind of lost here on Earth. There was subtle little things in this that, seeing it the second time, I started picking up on the monsters side of it that made me much like it's how capricious it was with its own followers.
But I would argue
that was
all
very
those
interesting.
Things are cool, but those things had nothing to do with like the random cult. Like I feel like having the statue in the house was cool. I feel like a lot of the things that the monster physically does and interacts with are cool. I just feel like I felt like having the group in the woods that kind of is tied into this big reveal felt too disconnected from the monster itself. I would have just kept all the monster stuff, even the praying. I would have just kept that personally.
So,
but that was my take.
It's funny. In the book, it's not a cult. It is a cult, but it's not like all of these kind of like weird, very Texas Chainsaw backwoods,
like just
Nordic
random
hillbillies.
people.
Yeah, it's kind of tropey in this movie where they're dressed in rags and they're living out in the wilderness, right? But we get
There's
something about them. Yeah, and they're like promised immortality by this monster. In the book, it's actually a couple of black metal kids, and they're in a band, and they're working for this old witch who is actually the one who's following this monster. And that's it.
Oh.
And they do have a room of like ancient dead people that are still being kept alive in the book. But in the movie, they have that too, which is I think the coolest part of the cult, where he like hears the chanting from behind the door, and he opens the door, and everything goes quiet, and there's just a room full of corpses, and he thinks they're all dead, and then like there's one preaching in the front, and he goes in, and then one of them moves, and he just very calmly goes, "Fuck that," and burns it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Not
today.
One of the more reasonable responses we've seen in some of these movies.
It's completely reasonable. That thing starts moving, you go, no,
I've got
that's
a
getting the torch. I have a torch, and I'm gonna use it. Yep. It's the same thing with the gun scene where he's got that awesome German Mauser gun, and it just keeps jamming on him. The guy's trying to reason with them, and he just goes, nope.
Yep.
Comes down the stairs.
He like tries to shoot him and it fails, and then the guy tries to talk to it. He's like, I'm just gonna keep jamming it until it works. Like,
no, bro, there's no talking. There's no talking to you. He comes down from seeing the room of the dead people, and the old witch is kind of there and looks at him. He just goes, poop, and just pops her, drops her.
I love that. It was like I love that part because it's like a slight little bit of comedy just to give you a little bit of like a moment, because it's been so like dark, especially since I've got captured, and like, like his buddy knows that he's gonna die, like he's gonna be the one that's gonna die, like accepting that fate, and having just had that like scene and hearing what goes on with him, you're like, dude, can this like get any worse? And then like just to have that little bit of comedy where he just like knocks out the witch, just it made me laugh for a moment. We're like, oh, I can breathe just for a second, and then it hits you again, So
a little bit of levity, a slight break, and it feels real. It feels like that's what you would do after you found out what's really going on in this house. All right, so let's talk about these characters. You got 4 dudes walking into the woods, and typically in these movies, when you have these 4 characters, the movie lives and dies on whether you care about them. Did you guys end up caring about these 4 guys? Did that hold enough weight so that you cared what was going to happen to these dudes as you went into the movie, or was there not enough characterization for you?
I felt like I didn't necessarily care about them as much as I cared about what they were doing for their friend, right? Like the whole reason that they go on this trip is because their one friend was with them and gets murdered before they leave. They get the main character, Luke, and what is the name of the friend? I don't remember offhand.
Friend who dies, Robert? Was that his name? Yeah,
I'm not sure, but they're on their way back from a pub trip where they're all deciding what vacation they're going to take together, and Luke and the friend go into a shop that just happens to be being burglarized, and the friend meets a very untimely end, and that's what inspires this whole trip.
While Luke cowers in the back, like he hides and watches his friend die.
And then
terrible.
They decide to go on the trip that he would have wanted to go on in honor of him, which I think is very noble of them and like a good tribute to their friend. And so like more than caring about them specifically, I kind of wanted this for them for what it represented to them, and like the friend that they lost. Like that was an empathetic point for me. And then frankly, I think the driving force was a lot of them suck at just being people and being outdoorsmen, and that frustration was what drove me through a lot of the movie at that point. Was just like, God, like make a good decision.
How did I know Ryan was going to see these guys? Like the one guy gets blisters on his feet because he doesn't break in his shoes, and I know Ryan's sitting there going, motherfucker,
Dude.
you always break in your boots.
Hutch was the only one who had his shit together, and he's the first
Yeah.
one to fucking die. He's gone,
But
and
that's-
then I'm like, they're all done.
But that's why Motor takes him first,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah,
he was
it
the
knows.
only one who had his shit together, and he knew he could break him down from there.
And frankly, we kind of get the implication at the end that it can't leave the forest. And honestly, had Hutch survived, they probably would have made it out. At least some of them. Like some of them probably would have died along the way, but more of them would have made it out because Hutch actually had a good direction and a good plan and good resources with him. And fucking Dom keeps pulling Hutch away from the plan, man.
Always.
Dom was an interesting character because for so much of the movie, like you start getting as annoyed with him as the rest of the characters do. Like he's bitchy, he's selfish, he's annoying. But then I don't know about you guys, I was like, all right, Dom, on his way out the door, when he got sacrificed to the monster, like he kind of went out like a boss.
Yeah.
He faced it. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna die.
He was also the one that actually brought like one of the strongest scenes to the fold, I think, into the movie was like he brings up what everybody wants to say or what's ever like on the tip of everybody's tongue is like basically like you did nothing in that store and you watched him die.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody's been wanting to say that. And even the main guy, it's like it's always constantly the guilt that he's living with. So it's like he knows that it's always in the back of everybody's mind, but he didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
And then that moment like really like puts it into perspective. Like, no, even all my close friends thinks that that the guilt falls on me too. Like I should have done something. And so like Dom, like, yeah, he's a super annoying, but he also like stirs the pot.
He ends up being the
thing,
bravest.
right,
He ends up being the bravest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, although his point is valid, time and place, man. You guys are in the middle of the woods. This is not helpful right now.
It's
Like,
like,
I
we're
don't
lost.
disagree
You know what,
with your
bitch?
point.
Yeah,
But
I
like,
get
come
you. Yeah.
on. Read the room. Let's do some social skills. This is not the time for this.
That's not Dom's deal. There's no social
No.
skills. Dom's just going to go for it. Yeah, no, I fit. And all of that made up for the movie. Like they were bickering in the book, but the whole friend who was dead and then the dynamics of the group totally made up for the movie. And I thought that it really worked. A lot of these movies, if you're too annoyed with the characters, you don't care what happens to them. If you don't care enough, or if they're not engaging enough or charismatic enough, you don't care. And I feel like in this movie, they did a good job of giving you characters that were just damaged enough that you could relate to them, but not so obnoxious that you're just like, just die already.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was no one in this movie I wanted to die. I was kind of feeling for all of them. I was like, I really don't want that guy to, oh, there he goes. You know, and I kind of felt bad when they did. So I too felt like they had some pretty good characters in this movie.
I think what I've noticed the second time or third time, whatever it is for me watching it, was just like the main character's name, what's his name again?
Luke, I believe.
Luke, yeah. Like, I mean, it's really good storytelling. I think that you introduce him in the beginning and you ultimately, it's so hard. Like you really want to hate him, but then you also can be like, well, if I was in that situation, what would I truly do?
Right.
Like, would I be like protecting myself? Could I even stand up to these people? And so it's like, it's this interesting thing where they like already kind of pit you against this guy. You're like, I don't really like this guy. He should have done something for his friend. And by the end, when he's screaming out at the forest, like you like are cheering him on. So it's just, I just think it's really good storytelling and character building to make this guy just feel so like minuscule and just so frustrating in the beginning. Where then at the end you're rooting him on as he's overcome this, trauma, guilt,
This
whatever.
God as well.
With. Yeah,
he's overcome a God. And Rafe Spall, who plays Luke, he does a lot. He's a very minimalist actor. Everyone in this is pretty small, but he's really small with what he's doing. He keeps everything very internal, and he's very good at it. And I think makes, as you say, a very charismatic character who takes someone who does something that we all would look at and think poorly of, and obviously his friends think poorly of it too, and he makes him someone that we are engaged with and we want to see succeed ultimately. But that ending, Dan, I want to talk about right now, and that is, does that work for all of us? With the way that they do is where he escapes the creature, gets out of the woods, the creature can't leave, and he's just up there on the hill going, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." screaming back at it. But how did that work for you guys? Do you think that was a satisfying ending, or was that a little flat?
I liked it. I thought that it was like, I thought that the Force as a border felt very cool and very mythy. In that sense of like, it's got it felt very like it's got its domain, right?
There's rules to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do think that just watching him scream at it after everything that we've seen him go through specifically and the journey he's been on and all the people he's lost feels very human and cathartic. And like, it's almost like it's almost primal of that kind of like you like almost like when you see like a bear or something roar at something, like just this like you're just letting it out, right? This kind of like almost this intimidation showdown of like it's the vocal equivalent of like standing up and putting your arms up and making yourself as big as possible, but it's just that emotional unload. I did really like that. I think that some of the stuff leading up to it got a little shaky, but I thought that the ending itself at least stuck the landing.
Like what? What was shaky for you?
Well, we joke about Dom. I did not relate as much with Dom throughout. I was kind of hoping Dom would just keel over.
Damn.
I was so sick of Dom, dude.
No
And
forgiveness.
I think that Dom had his brief moment when in the actual cabin, in as much as I didn't like the whole cabin village thing for the most part, I do think that him basically realizing like, look, dude, I'm going to die and you have to get out of here. Like that talk, I think, was the really only moment that I really respected Dom in this story overall. Was very the fact that he was able to accept and put aside his shit and be like, look, like I'm
gonna die
to do this.
Yeah.
Like,
you have to go. Yeah,
exactly.
You're the one.
Like that, I thought was very cool. And I agree with you that like when he's up on the pole and whatever, although he kind of like makes a fool of himself, like shouting, like, let's get on with it. Like whatever, like, oh, we just gotta stand here. Like he is obnoxious to the end. But I do think that the way that he faced it down and the fact that we've got the reveal of the creature revealing to himself as Gale and everything, that scene was cool. So like, I don't think he went out on a bad note, but the thing is, I don't necessarily think that the note he went out on was enough to redeem all of the shit that I was so sick of this guy. He was making all the wrong decisions. He was ultimately the reason that they had to go to the Force in the first place, because he wasn't responsible, and he accidents happen. He injured his leg. Like, I get all of that, but then he was just such a bitch about it the whole time and made it so much more difficult and made so many wrong decisions. I was so frustrated with him.
You know what I thought was interesting too with Dom, and I got frustrated with him, but it was like a full circle, is that he's the one that like unloads first and is like, you didn't save him, you didn't have a drop of blood on you, like he unloads. But when Hutch is like already taken out and it's the three of them, he's cowering and hiding by himself too in that scary moment. So it's like, I just like seeing that moment where it's like you think you're standing up for something, you think that you would do the right thing or the brave thing in the moment, but you don't know. And then just showing Dom like cowering where he's like don't hurt me, like he's just scared enough that he's just trying to protect himself, shows like, look, like every situation is totally different. You don't know what you would do, how you would be, and you just have to like support the people and hoping that like you have no idea what they went through in that moment.
And
I
really like the fact that as the story goes on, Luke really does step up to the plate and in Hutch's absence becomes the de facto leader and is able to multiple times delay or potentially save his friends. And then we get this big culmination of he finds Dom cowering again a second time after Phil dies behind this root, and they know it's coming, and Luke has to be the one to rally Dom and then literally pick him up and run with him. Like, I did like the full circle aspect of that, and the fact that we were able to come back to like Dom kind of without directly forgiving Luke verbally. We get the fact that like his respect comes back and Luke re-earns it, even if it's not verbalized.
But I think that all of this discussion that we're having here points to the fact that this movie is a movie that has characters that work that engage us. That's the, like, as much as this is a monster movie and the monster is super cool and very interesting and very unique, and they did a great job realizing it between the practical effects and the digital effects, this is still a movie where if the characters don't work, the movie doesn't work. And whatever tropiness and whatever we think about like how the ending is executed and how, you know, how everything's executed, if the characters don't work, everything falls apart. And the characters are obviously engaging enough that that's what we're talking about, is who did what, when, and why, and what the arcs of the different characters were.
And poor Phil, man. Phil, out of everyone, I feel like Phil's just getting wrecked out there. He's like waking up naked in front of a statue. He's like, it's in his head. He's having visions. Yeah. He's just losing it.
I felt bad for Arshur Ali. That's a Royal Shakespeare Company leading man. And he's in here playing like the guy's got blisters on my feet and I'm naked in front of the weird statue in the creepy house. Like he doesn't give a nothing to do except for just be punished by this story. But yeah, I think that they do a strong job with the characterizations, and then by the time the characterizations kind of reach their apex, we get the monster, and the monster kind of carries the last third of the movie and trying to figure out what the fuck this monster actually is with what they're showing you. So, all right, boys, well, it's time. Who's our Mike Logan in this movie? Is there a Mike Logan? Does the creature count?
Ryan looks like he's pretty positive.
He's got somebody.
I'm gonna say it. I already prefaced, man. Dom's
your Mike Logan, really?
Dude, look, Dom bitches and whines the whole movie.
Oh my
Don fights with his friends. Dom literally leads them down a path that isn't the correct path because he's like, I'm getting impatient. I'm going to be a bitch and I'm going to make a decision for the group without consulting with anybody. Dom is so much of the problem in this movie. Fuck Dom.
Dude,
really, the only ones who I think supersede Dom are potentially the shoplifters.
Right.
Potentially. Or, maybe the witch, the little old witch lady who's like, you're the sacrifice. We'll take you.
Look, she's just living her life and has her own, she's got an agreement for immortality, whatever. She's got her own little cult thing.
You'll excuse that.
I don't even think she's on the same scale. There's Dom and the shoplifters. Those are the, all others I don't think compete.
So wait, she's living her life sacrificing people to her ancient deity so that she can live forever. Look, that's cool, but Dom slips a disc and has a bad day, and you're like, yeah, fuck that guy. He deserves to die.
Just one bad day. He made a ton of bad decisions. But the second thing is, look, if there was a god that was sacrificing humans and gave me immortality, and the only choice that I have was die or sacrifice other people, maybe I would be considering. But I don't know. That's a very that's a very hypothetical situation.
Whoa, Ryan.
Look, if you've got a gun to your head and you're in the middle of the forest and you're lost and you've got a god that you don't know what it's capable of, it can appear in your head. I'm just saying she's got way more motivation than Dom, who's just whining and rather than helping his friends get back to safety, is leading them deeper into the woods.
All right. Well, if we notice that Ryan stops aging, we'll know what happened to all those Boy Scouts. Dan March of Madness, who do you vampire that possibility too? We know you'll sacrifice people to keep your immortality. Dan March of Madness, who do you think? Weigh in. Who's our Mike Logan? Who fuck this guy award? Who do we got in this movie?
Yeah, I think that Ryan had probably a pretty good choice, but I'll go with with the shoplifter guy, with the guy with the pipe.
Yeah.
If the guy with the pipe hadn't hit the friends, they would never even be where they're at right now.
That's an easy Mike Logan.
Too far too. He doesn't he knocks him down once, and that could have been enough, and he keeps going.
Yeah.
I agree. He's very much a candidate.
Yeah, just remember, kids, cocaine is a hell of a drug. All right, This Is Why You Died. It's the name of the show.
You gotta pick yours.
I did. I gave mine. I said it was the witch. The witch lady. Yeah. The witch bitch, who in the book has goat legs. I wish she'd had goat legs in the movie. That'd have been so much cooler if she had cloven hooves.
She's a satyr.
Bad. Yeah, like a weird high. She's been mutated by all the years that she's been serving this god. That'd be fucking
crazy,
cool as hell.
I would have liked the village better if there was mutations.
So, the dead seated ones in the attic were pretty mutated. We did see some mutations,
but they're just desiccated from time.
Well, their feet were messed up. I think their feet were kind of hoofy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, that's neither here nor that's the coolest scene in the movie to me, I think, besides the monster, is him walking into that room and just, so creepy. Yeah. All right, This Is Why You Died. Why did someone die in this movie? Ryan, it's your movie. Why did someone die in The Ritual? I mean, the whole movie's this is why you
got
died.
it.
Yeah.
It's easy
Why
for
did,
him.
oh
Easy.
no.
You know what I'm going to say?
Easy for Ryan.
You have the path. You know where it goes. You have a plan. And instead, you guys go off the path into the fucking woods where no one knows where you are, and you have an injured man, and you think that it'll be great because you got this shortcut. You are an idiot. Just go back the way you came, and then the lodge that you're registered at that knows where you are can come get you if it gets too dark because they know the path you fucking took. Jesus.
Very well
That's why
said.
you died. Stick to the plan. Respect the wilderness.
Anytime there's an outdoors scene and people change the plans, I know Ryan's going to have a bad time on the show.
Survival mechanics. We are social creatures.
And then if you find someone's house, don't like laughingly bust up their furniture for a fire.
Well,
like
also,
that's just
they find the dead tent, right? They find the belongings.
Yeah.
Like they know where they know the direction, they know where the ridge is, and they just Dom wanders off in a different direction than like
Oh, Dom.
fucking Dom. What, Dan? This time I got the impression that the young blonde that was helping Luke in the cabin was the chick from the ID in the tent.
Yes.
Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I think that's why they planted that there, and I got that more by rewatching it, is that what I found was really cool is that what makes the village maybe cooler for you, if you think about it this way, Ryan, is that these people found a way to survive the monster not killing them, so they have to bound together. Like, they've made this village just because they've survived it. And so now now they've formed this thing to figure out how to like bring other people in so they can at least protect themselves. But like that whole life is like horrific when you think about it too, of like just trying to like stay alive and keep this thing at bay from not killing and eating you.
That's what I'm saying is like, that's why I can't blame the witch, is because it's like, if you're in that situation, like what choice do you really have is either do this or die?
Well, she seems to be like, maybe not enjoying, but she seems to like be like, all right, I got this down to a science. No problem. Yeah, okay, this one, he's going to be sacrificed. You chewing on a root.
I thought it was the mark, right? It was the fact that he was marked. It was like, she doesn't necessarily
and she's like,
choose.
yeah, buddy, me too. I got the mark too. Which, so one of the things that was kind of implied is that the monster takes people who are heavily traumatized, who have lots of pain.
Yes.
Because they're ones that he can manipulate and control. He can,
get in their heads.
Get in their heads and cause them to worship him because of their trauma or something. So everyone in that village has some sort of pain or trauma that bonds them to the monster and something like that. And he just was strong enough to break through his trauma to work through it and get something like that is the metaphor of the movie. I don't know. It wasn't terribly clear, but at the end, he's overcome his trauma and he's just yelling at it from the edges of the forest. Dan, why did someone die in this movie?
I'm going to build on top of Ryan's, but if the wilderness creates a new path magically for you overnight, don't trust it. Don't go down it. If there's a path that wasn't there the night before that is now just magically in front of you, don't be like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't see that the whole 2 days that we were here before. So like, let's just go back the way we came. So building off the top of that, don't trust the wilderness to give you a magical path because it's not going to be the way to go.
That's how you end up in the Feywild.
Yeah,
the Feywild.
But they steal your names.
They stole more than their names in this movie. They stole their intestines. They stole their clothes. Like it was. You can take my name. Just leave me my guts and my clothes, please. I mean, you guys took kind of the great ones. I don't know. This whole movie to me is this is why you died. Once they enter the forest, I'm like, well, this is why you died.
That's true.
Because you looked at that Swedish forest and went, I'm sure it's fine.
Yep.
The way that they shoot this forest with the long, deep lenses and all the trees are just packed together, and it just it felt so claustrophobic and also wide open at the same time. Like, I've never been to Romania where they shot this movie, but I've been in some pretty thick forest before. And when you're out there far enough, it truly is. You get turned around. The sun doesn't look like it is where it actually is in the sky. Like, you don't need your compass to get wonky. You can get lost real easy. I've been lost in the deep wilderness before, straight up lost, and it took me about 5 hours to figure out where the hell I was and
that's
how
scary.
I got there.
No, thank you.
Dude,
Ugh.
so this movie, like the way that they show them getting lost it's nice and visceral, and the way that they show just how lost they are. Oh, that's the ridge up there. That light, that's the ridge. He goes up there. It's just more trees.
Yep.
And then something has a hand like 20 feet up in the branch and it moves the hand. This movie messed me up in some of like the first half stuff. It was really good. But the whole movie is that this is why you died. Why did you die? You went in the spooky goddamn forest.
Yep.
Full stop. Full fucking stop. All right, Scully time. Boys, we got to rate The Ritual from 2017. Ryan, I'm going to start with you again. It's your movie. What did you think of this movie that you found on Google and you picked for Myth? How did it stack up?
Honestly, I'm going to give this movie an 8. I feel like there were elements of it that I liked. There were elements of it that were disappointing. I thought the creature was cool, but I felt like it was underutilized early and then kind of like just I felt like the reveal of it was cool, but also ended too fast. And we didn't really get a lot of what the whole deal with the creature was. And we kind of lost it in the whole village thing. Dom can suck a fat one. Just so annoying and just like so brutal through the movie. Whereas like, I really liked Phil, and I felt like Phil was, to your point, very sidelined. And Hutch being the only reasonable one dies first. And so like there's a lot of stuff throughout it that like I thought were cool. I thought the statue was cool. I thought that the scene where they're running down that lit pathway that they find with all like that was super cool. Yeah. The forest cinematography was brilliant. There was definitely some stuff about the movie that was good. I honestly, I just wanted more from it than it gave at the end of the day. And the ending was good. It wasn't like it didn't stick the landing. It was just kind of I wanted it to fly higher than it did, and it flew. It just didn't flew. It didn't fly to the heights that I hoped.
Fair enough. Dan, March of Madness. What did you think about The Ritual? Third time you watched it?
Yeah, so like I said, the first time I was a bit let down. Not sure why, because this one just really blew me away. I think it's just a smart, it's a smart horror film. I think that I knock it down a little bit because I feel like the middle, there's some definite pacing issues. And like Ryan was saying, there's so much that they're packing into that last like 15 minutes. Whereas it's like if they would have reached the village a little bit sooner and maybe been able to explore some more of the lore, explore who the people are, kind of create some more creepy elements. I think that could have like helped with the pacing, because it just feels like a lot of tension in the beginning. Then they're just like lost for a while and have these like tense moments in character that just feel drawn out. And then it just ramps up and there's just too much story that they're packing in. But, you know, having said that, I think it's still a very strong movie. I think that there's the score is phenomenal. Like, I really love the score.
Yeah, it is a very good score.
It's so effective. It's so strong when it needs to be. It's classical when it needs to be. And then like, once you start getting into the folk, it even like gets into that sound, that like twangy, everything is off. Like, I think it just fits so well. And it's like, and I think it's still one of the best movies that handles flashbacks in such a perfect way, in that it's like, it's playing like the monsters playing with their fear in their head to get into it. But like, the way that the flashback just kind of appears in part of wherever he's at, like,
I did love
the flickering on of the lights was just like, you know that there's something else that's coming, and he has to like relive this moment, this guilt, but from different angles, and sometimes different things happen. It's just really smart and really well done. And I remember even after the first viewing, it was like one of the coolest things that really stuck with me about it. But having said all that, it's definitely high up there with me. I know Knock It Down only one Scully because of the pacing, but it's a 9 for me. It's a phenomenal movie.
Very strong. Yeah, nice, man. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Bruckner's really good at directing scenes where realities blend into each other. If you haven't seen The Night House, that's a great example of that, where like dimensions kind of cross into each other, and he does a great job of visualizing that. And there's some stuff in this, I agree, that's really cool visually with that. But I'm kind of more on Ryan's level with this. I came into this viewing of it at about an 8.5. I love The Ritual. I thought it, like the first time I saw it, it really gripped me and kept me all the way to the end. The reveal of the monster was, I love a good monster. I love an original monster. I think the work that the Imaginarium did on it was really cool, and the design of it was very original and unique and disturbing. And the lore, I like a good folk horror movie. This has some great folk horror stuff in it. I like a great Lost in the Woods movie. I thought they did a great job with the characterizations. But on the second viewing, I felt like the hillbillies, for lack of a better word, were a little tropey. They were falling into those tropes a little bit too hard. And I was disappointed in that. I agree with Ryan. I think that I wanted so much more of the ending the second time. The first time it was enough because I was so shocked by what I was seeing with this monster that it was very exciting and engaging to me. But the second time I was kind of like, okay, I've seen it. Give me more. I want more. I want to know more about it. I want to know more of this stuff, to see more of it, to see more of it in action. And that's not a fault of the film. Like, this was the movie they were trying to make, but unfortunately it does make the movie feel a little bit less on second watch. It's the story that I'm being told felt less engaging. Maybe I'll change my mind on the third one. This might go back and forth between 8.5. For me, it's a really good movie. It's a comfort movie. I'd throw it on if I wanted to just watch a good, scary woods movie. But it's an 8 for me. So that is our ratings for this movie. Wow. And that means that, Ryan, officially you are out of a prompt.
It's true. And
there's no prompt for you right now, sir. Grab that Avengers bucket of the beast that you have there. Dan, we are sitting on a couple things. I've got Indonesia, which I'm going to announce what we're going to watch on the next episode in a second. What are you sitting on? Again, what prompt do you have?
It fits me perfectly. Birth.
Birth.
The many times that I've talked about
coming up
traumatizing birth things
on this show. I have a feeling you're going to come up with a good one for that. I'm kind of worried. I'm scared.
We'll see.
But Ryan, it looks like Ryan has drawn his prompt, and he's kind of staring off in the distance.
Okay, I wanted to check because I was like, have we drawn this one before? We haven't, but it's close to one I drew before, so I had to check.
Interesting. Okay.
Revenge.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Revenge.
That's a good one.
Nice. That's a very wide-ranging one. There's even a good movie.
There's a good movie called Revenge.
Revenge.
I drew ages ago, towards the beginning of the podcast, I drew Betrayal.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Within the same space. So I was like, oh God, did I not remove one? No, I did. It's a different prompt.
Yes. Similar.
Revenge.
Similar. I think different intention, I think, behind revenge than betrayal.
But again, one that I'm going to have to be a little wary of with plot, because sometimes that might be a twist. So I'll have to figure that one out.
You might have to throw this out to the group here.
That's true.
Throw it out to your kids.
That's true. We'll see.
Recommend some. Be careful if they recommend I Spit on Your Grave. That's all I'll say. Be careful about that one. Or Last House on the Left. Oh boy.
No.
All right. So Ryan's got. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of other ones. I'm just saying, if they throw those out.
Well, you said that, and then I saw Dan's face, and now I have questions and concerns.
Now if that gets recommended highly to you, then have questions and concerns.
Oh God.
That's a great one. All right. Well, as I said, it's my turn to announce what we're watching next week on This Is Why You Died. Indonesia. This is an interesting one, Dan. When I first got this, I mentioned one of the Indonesian horror movies. I kind of threw out there Indonesian horror, and you got really excited. And I'm actually curious, before I announce which one this is, which Indonesian horror movie were you thinking of when you got all excited about Indonesian horror?
I
think back.
Want to say what it is. It's like Devil's Servants or something.
Satan's Slaves?
Satan's Slaves. Satan's Slaves was what I was thinking you were going to do.
So it's actually really funny that you say Satan's Slaves, because the director of that movie, who I'm forgetting his name like an asshole. I feel really bad. Joko Anwar, I think. I was right. Joko Anwar. I didn't want to say his name wrong. Joko Anwar, who directed that movie, also directed a movie called Impedagore. Oh. And that came out, I think, a couple years after Satan's Slaves. And I personally think it's a superior movie to Satan's Slaves. And I'm glad that Satan's Slaves is the one that you said, because I'm going to pick Impedagore because I want to show you a Joko Anwar you haven't seen, and I want to fuck up Ryan because this movie. Wee. This is a awesome.
Wait, okay, hold on. We can't go into too much, but is there an interesting cold opening in this one? Or is it
there is an interesting cold opening in this one.
Okay, I think I've seen this.
You might have seen this one.
I think I've seen this one.
Do the words toll booth ring a bell?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, you have seen this one. All right, cool.
I'm excited for Ryan.
I'm alone.
excited for Ryan.
It's no, Ryan. Ghosts and myths and like deep dark history in a village in the middle of nowhere.
You're gonna dig it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And if you haven't seen it, go check out Impedagore and come back and listen to us next time. But before we get out of here, boys, a little bit of business. Dan, tell them where they can find us.
beacons.ai/TIWYD pod. You can see all our links and you can watch us on YouTube. You can visit our Patreon and you can visit our store where you can get this beanie.
And all our
that I
socials.
love.
That's right.
Our
Or this
socials too.
button up that I'm wearing right here. Look at this.
Look at that
swag we got.
Sporting the swag.
Crazy. And
Which
Ryan,
we
any
did,
call
by
outs
the
we gotta
way,
give?
we added some of those things that you guys asked for in terms
Did we?
of we do
What?
have pint glasses. We
What?
have thermoses and tumblers and things, and we even have a whiskey glass now.
Okay,
on the merch
I'm
site.
ordering all of
So-
these things after the show.
It comes in pints?
It does come in pints. You can get a pint
I'm
glass
getting
that
one.
says "This is why you died."
Oh,
I love it. We got to get them.
I'm getting one. All right.
Getting them.
Ryan, any shout outs we got to give before we head to the door?
Of course. So, as you guys know, we do video, but we also have bonus content available on our Patreon, including our extended editions, which both precede and proceed beyond the episodes
Post-seed?
themselves, the before and after of each episode. And our highest tier is our dedicated benefactors, which there's a variety of perks with each of the actual membership tiers, but the dedicated benefactors have a specific perk where if you're a dedicated benefactor, you get a shout out every single episode. And so, of course, we must shout out CG. Thank you so much for being a dedicated benefactor.
Thank you, CG.
We appreciate you so much. And all of you who support the Patreon, we really, really appreciate it.
All of our patrons fucking rock.
Not only does it mean the world to us, but also all of that stuff helps us improve the show and build towards higher heights with the show itself. So if anyone does want to support, please check it out. And those who are already there, thank you so much. It means the world to us.
Yeah, guys, we do have some big dreams for things we could do with this show. So any help that you can give is always appreciated. You know, be here on the ground floor because we have some good ideas. But that being said, yeah, check out our Patreon. And also right now, if you're a member of our Patreon, it's a good season to be it because we got our bonus episode for the holidays coming up shortly after this episode drops, I believe. So check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun watching Santa's sleigh, and also
it's got
give you an opportunity
big boots to fill after last year's Rare Exports. Because Rare Exports was
Rare
great.
Exports so good,
very different movie than Rare Exports. This is a totally different beast entirely, but I'm very much looking forward to it. Also, join our Patreon because we're going to be having that video game session in January, where we're going to finally play the long-awaited Dead by Daylight. To make Ryan very happy where he gets to kill all of us.
I'll just be screaming and running away.
Silly.
I'm going to just try to find the coolest character to play. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We already know what you guys are going to play. He's going to play Ghostface or Mike Myers, and you're going to play Pinhead for sure.
True. Very true.
They're both in there.
Got it.
That's wildly accurate. I might also play Dracula from Castlevania. We'll see.
That's in there.
Fun.
I know. I checked. I looked. I do some research. But that being said, everybody, thank you for checking out this show where we watch The Ritual. Come back next week when we watch Impedagore from Indonesia. I almost did Dead Alive. I almost did Brain Dead, Peter Jackson. He's got the Sumatran rat monkey in it. I was that close, but I'm going to save that. I'll save that for another time. That's a great one. But next week, Impedagore. Thank you, everyone, for checking out our show. Thank you to all of our patrons. For Ryan Ross Live, for Dan March of Madness, I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and we will see you next time right here on
This is why you die.